Hi, I moved to Tenerife in Canary Islands about 2 months ago, and I want to share the biggest pros and cons of living here. Let's start with pros. First of all, the climate. If you're coming from Northern Europe like me, then this will be a huge change in your life, because here it's like spring the year round. In the summer, it's usually between the upper 20s and lower 30s in centigrade, of course. And in winter, it's in lower 20s. It's basically like the spring weather all year round. It's really nice, unless it rains. Like, it doesn't rain a lot, and you can especially see it in the southern part of the island. It's a big chunk of desert, and it's in the middle of the ocean. Yeah, a little ironic. But once in a while, the rain clouds come, and they don't usually go away really easily, because they get stuck in El Teide. It's the huge volcano in the middle of the island. So when they come, they got stuck. So when the clouds come, you can expect the weather to be cloudy for a week or so. But other than that, it's usually sunny and warm. The second pro is the people. You know how chill the life in Spain is? And here, it's even more relaxed than Spain. Everything works in a very slow pace, and it's just relaxing. There's no stress whatsoever. It might be like the Pacific Islands, like how they follow the island time. Here it's also an island. No one calls it the island time here, but everyone knows that everything is, slow paced, chill, relaxed. Anyway, a third perk of living here is, in my opinion, being really close to a lot of awesome hiking spots. Tenerife and all the other Canary Islands offer unique landscapes and very, very, very nice hiking paths. You can also climb the highest peak of Spain, which is also El Teide in Tenerife. So if you're into outdoors and hiking, I definitely recommend you to come here. Another perk of living here is the prices, especially if you like eating out, because the local restaurants are really, really cheap, especially compared to Germany. Everything is super cheap. Like, you cannot even compare the prices. It's so cheap, unless you go to upper-end restaurants, of course. But in general, the local places are cheap and the quality is good. Okay, cons. First of all, the grocery prices. Almost everything has to be imported from Spain, so the prices of the grocery store are a bit higher than Germany, I would say, especially fresh produce. On this island, not a lot of fruits or vegetables can grow. They mainly produce bananas. So bananas are cheap, but the rest of the fresh produce comes from Spain, so it's a bit more expensive. A second downside is that it's boring. If you go to the capital, Santa Cruz, or the historic capital of La Laguna, you can still find like a lot of people around. And La Laguna is a student city, so you can find nightlife or young people. But if you're living in South, like me, it's basically dead. Like, you're living in the middle of a desert, and you either find very small isolated towns or very touristy places. And since you're living here, you're not really into the touristy places or the touristy attractions probably, so it doesn't really appeal to you. So it gets boring, yeah, unless you get used to it. It took me a while to get used to it, a few weeks to a month. Like, I feel like I'm starting to get used to the lack of the possible free time activities only now after 2 months. Which brings us to the third point. It's really touristy. And people from England, Spain, and Germany come here every winter and summer for their holidays. And like, there are some cities, for example, the biggest city close to me is called Los Cristianos, and when you go there, you hear more English than Spanish. Like, it's extremely touristy, especially south. You might consider living in the north, and north is greener than south, and it's basically where most of the locals live. unless you have a reason to live in the south, you usually don't live in the south. Yeah, these are my pros and cons. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope this video somehow helped you to decide whether you want to move to the Canary Islands or not. Thank you. Bye.